EFD is an international network of environmental economics think tanks. It now spans the globe. We have EFD centers in Africa, in Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and in South Africa. In Latin America, we have centers in Central America, in Colombia, and in Chile. In Asia, we have centers in China, Vietnam, and in India. We also have centers in the US and in Sweden.
So what we're trying to create is truly domestic centers of excellence that can draw on the best methodologies internationally, and also of course international collaborations in the research. But they need to have a basis locally, know their local institutions and the local problems that they're facing, and be able to interact with policymakers not only today and tomorrow, but the next year and 10 years down the line. We have identified a number of gaps that needs to be addressed to reach all the way to enlightening these policy processes.
I come from a developing country where I have seen a lot of poor people, where I have seen the environment being degraded. Right? And I always wished I could do something about it. So then when I went, for further studies, I got the tools to know that there is actually something one can do to help the situation.
We are trying to mentor younger researchers because really to make EFD our center very vibrant, we need more hands on the ground, and we need people who are motivated, people who are ready to work.
In the EFD, we are addressing the analytical gap through our EFD Research Fund, where we really encourage our local colleagues to interact with policymakers, to identify what the knowledge gaps are that could really help improve these policies.
The Research Fund is important to enable researchers in the EFD countries to do high quality and policy relevant research. Since 2007, 140 research projects were funded through the Research Fund, and about 600 peer-reviewed international publications were produced.
Well, as an individual, I want to be a good researcher. I want to do, and for that it means to do research that's relevant. But the environment to do that has always been limited, and that's why I'm part of EFD. EFD tries to solve that.
As we interacted with policymakers, as we interacted with other researchers from abroad, new areas started opening up. And those areas attracted people to our program. These people brought tools like impact evaluation. They also brought interests like forestry, agriculture, and that means that the agenda has been expanding since the start. The number of topics that we care about, the number of topics that we want to do research is also expanding.
So we need to make sure that the knowledge that is out there is actually communicated and put in place in those policy processes.
This communication gap relates to the academics not having an opportunity or a possibility to speak to the policymakers who are actually controlling what is going on in the country. In most cases, yes, there might be capacity to do a lot of good research, but that good research often ends up on the shelves of an academic's office. Those results are never communicated. Those results will never get to influence what actually happens on the ground. So through the creation of these centers, we created a platform where there will be a meeting point between the academia and the policymakers.
The fact that EFD combines research together with policy interaction allows this research to make a direct impact on the livelihoods of people and also sort of like assist government in making the right policies related to environmental issues.
The need for a platform for this capacity to work, to meet the resources, and to make a difference. So the institutional gap we are addressing by creating these EFD centers and by setting up this global network of EFD centers.
Developing countries, so you know, they generally have their own challenges as countries. So those challenges, they also filter through to the education sector, so the higher education sector. So when we think about the academic environments in those kind of contexts, there is usually a shortage of facilities. And in some cases, there is also even a shortage of capacity.
You can of course create that capacity being abroad in a good university, but being inside the country and having the local capacity here in a developing country means that you're not only there to set up a problem, find a solution to the problem, but you're also there to follow up that solution, and that requires a lot of time.
Being part of this network, we would get some lessons from some other countries and do similar studies in our own context and have a more meaningful dialogue with our policymakers.
I think there is something very special about environmental economists. We are both loving academic part of it, but we are all very committed to making a difference to the environment and for development.